gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages.
Hello, welcome back to another edition of the My Two Cents podcast hosted by G2. I am G2. This is episode, I believe, 157, and this is the last episode of 2023 because we are in New Year's Eve. So I want to wish everybody a happy New Year's. Man, 2023 has been a year. 2023 has been a year where we have seen a lot of ups and a lot of downs, and I can't wait to see what happens in 2024. But before I move over into all the ups and downs that we saw in 2023, let me get you guys off to the National Food Days of the week. Today being New Year's Eve, December 31st, it is National Champagne Day. So everyone please drink responsibly. Make sure you don't have the bubbly for the children. Give them some like apple cider bubbly, something like that. Or some like sparkling grape juice or something like that. But make sure you keep the champagne away from them. Tomorrow, January 1st, the first day of 2024, it is National Bloody Mary Day. So again, please drink responsibly. January 2nd, it is National Cream Puff Day, as well as National Buffet Day. January the 3rd, it is Fruitcake Toss Day, as well as National Covered Cherry Day. January 4th, it is National Spaghetti Day. Then to round us off, January the 5th, it will be National Whipped Cream Day. Also, January the 6th, that would round us off. It is Apple Tree Day, as well as National Bean Day, and also National Shortbread Day. Now, moving on for the National Food Days of the week, I got to talk about the people that we lost in 2023. 2023, we saw a lot of people get hit. People within the celebrity realm, whether they're in sports, music, politics, even entertainment. People just got took out in 2023, as it does every year. And I'm just going to list off some of the names that we lost in 2023. We lost Andre Brower. We lost Ryan O'Neal. We lost Norman Lear. We lost Sandra Day O'Connor. We lost Henry Kissinger, Jean Knight, Rosaline Carter, Bobby Knight, Frank Howard, Matthew Perry, Richard Roundtree, Suzanne Summers, Piper Laurie, Ralph Isley, Dick Bupkis, Tim Wakefield, Dianne Feinstein, Michael Gambone, Brooks Robinson, David McCullum, Gary Wright, Steve Hardwell, Bill Richardson, Jimmy Buffett, Bob Barker, Terry Funk, Robbie Robertson, Paul Rubens, better known as Pee Wee Herman, Sinead O'Connor, Tony Bennett. Keep going down the line. We have Alan Arkin, Bobby Osborne. We had Treat Williams, Pat Robertson, the Iron Sheik, Tina Turner, Jim Brown, Marlene Haggy, Jerry Springer, Harry Belafonte, Lynn Goodman, Michael Lorner, better known as the guy that I've seen in a lot of like the Godfather movies and like the stereotypical Italian mafia movies, Bobby Cardwell, Lance Riddick, Willis Reed, Bray Wyatt, Robert Blake, Richard Blazer, better known as, I believe his name was Munch in like the Law and Order series, Jay Briscoe. There's a litany of names of people that we lost this year. That's just a small surplus of them. If you want to look at the rest of them, again, this is from USA Today, and you kind of still probably look up the rest, but I just want to still wish everybody that's lost their loved ones, whether you're a celebrity or not a celebrity, you're a regular person, I hope that your family's able to recover from that grief. I know it's not easy because losing someone is never easy, but I would want you to start getting on the path of recovery. Start getting on the path of, you know what, my person wouldn't want me to be here downtrodden and just be sad that they're gone. Yes, you had your moment, but now you got to pick yourself up, go into 2024 and just try to be better, not just for yourself, but for your loved one that passed away, because they wouldn't want you to be sad and depressed. So for anyone that lost their loved ones this past year, I'm giving you my condolences, and I do still wish the best for you and everyone else on this planet as well. Now, moving off of that, 2023, as I said, we seen our ups and our downs. We've had a lot of news stories pop in because the news is a revolving door. One day something's extremely important and then the next day is not. Or one news story will be the talk of the town for a week or two and then it constantly moves out the way and then another big news story come in. I mean, we've had a litany of news stories come in and out of this year, and I'm just going to just refresh some of your memories on some of the news stories that happened this past year. And with the assist of CNN, here's some of the big news stories that happened in 2023. We had the Damar Hamlin situation where the New York Giants football player got hit and he was laid out on the field, and everybody was scared to see what's going to happen to him. Was he going to live or was he going to die? And he ends up living. And it was a scary moment there, and everybody was praying, and you had sports people talking about it, and the infamous Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp incident, which kind of might have set their whole partnership going into array and disarray, excuse me, because of that, because of Skip tweeting something out, and then Shannon Sharp had to tell him you probably want to take that down, and Skip said nah, and that probably set off there. So Damar Hamlin, that incident happened this past year, and I'm glad Damar Hamlin is good. He's healthy. He's good. The submersible, excuse me, the little submarine that went down to look at the Titanic that ended up imploding on itself, killing 5 people in the process. That happened this year. And again, condolences to the people that lost loved ones on that submersible. But let that be a lesson to everyone. Please, for the love of God, do not try to go deep down into the ocean. We have no idea what's down there. We all know, well, the scientists have told us that the further you go down into the water, the more the air pressure kind of squeezes you in. And if you're not in the right vehicle, right type of equipment for that type of air pressure, you're going to die. You're going to die within a blink of an eye. People have talked about that so many, and from this past incident here, that needs to be the biggest takeaway from this news story. Not just because people die, but because, again, the ocean is so unknown. The deep waters is so unknown. We don't know what's really down there at all. I would just say for anybody that wants to know, please get the equipment, do the studying, do the research, talk to people that have went down into the deep water, talk to them or try to look up, research them before you do any type of mess like that. But again, still rest in peace to the people that lost their lives over that. We had the incident in Virginia where this little boy shot the teacher in the hand, and now his mom is going to jail. The little boy is not going to be able to go to jail, but the teacher, she is still suing the school from that. I believe her name is Abby Warner. She's suing the school because they didn't look into the student like that the way they were supposed to, and that's why he was able to get the gun out of his bag and basically shoot the teacher in the hand. So now she's trying to sue them, I believe, for some millions of dollars. And again, there's still no type of ruling on that. The judge, the last time I checked on it, was saying that the case can go to court for that. So hopefully in 2024, we get some understanding from that. We get some ruling off of that. But again, that's another news story that happened. Another news story that also happened this past year. The little black teenager that went over to a man's house trying to get his 2 younger siblings, and he ended up going to the wrong household. He ended up getting shot by an older white man. The white man ends up going to jail. That is another case where I believe people should learn something from that. Make sure you're sending your kid to the right place to pick up their siblings, or give them the GPS address or something like that, or having another adult pick up your children. Again, what happened to that teenager was not right. He got shot in the head by an old man. Old man's now in jail because of that. All that could have been prevented. Again, I don't like the whole thing where people say they were afraid of their life. Like the same thing that happened, I believe it was in Florida, where the mother, she got shot by a lady because a lady threw out the other lady's kid's iPad, and she was a menace to the neighborhood. And the mom, she went over just trying to talk, and then the woman said she was fearing for her life, and she ended up shooting that lady. And again, that one is another one that happened this past year, which was crazy. And again, people saying they're fearing for their life, I don't like that one. I don't like that excuse that people were just able to get that off. These people in these incidents, the old man, he wasn't able to get that off. That's the reason why he's in jail. The woman in her case, in her instance, she wasn't able to get that off. She, I believe, currently is in jail. The woman's name is Susan Lawrence. Uh, she has a trial set. It was supposed to be in November. I just looked it up, but they delayed the trial, so now it will be set in June of 2024. So I'll be keeping my eye on that one. But again, a lot of these stories where people get killed because of quote unquote they're afraid of their life. I don't like that. Again, we'll have to wait and see what happens there with that lady. But again, that was another news story that happened this past year that I believe that everybody just went by and just blew by, because again, news constantly keeps going in and going out. With the same thing with um, Lisa Marie, her death. I forgot to mention that she died this year. See, that's another one that happened and came and went just like that. All the school shootings that happened this past year. Again, I'm not going to go into all of them, but there's too many of them to go into. But again, school shootings all throughout the year. It's a travesty. I believe that school shootings need to quit. I don't understand how people are still able to continue on with the idea that, I want to just go in there and start shooting up the schools, shooting up kids. It's unbelievable. And now more so, you got more college school shootings now that's happening as well. It's deplorable. It's heinous. Again, I'm not one for saying this, but here's my deal. If you feel that you want to go out away, here's my plea to you. Please call the suicide hotline number. If you're listening to this episode, if you feel that you are feeling some type of way, before you think about anything, call the suicide hotline number. I always have it in the details of the episode every single week. I don't know if people pay attention to that, but I've got that there for you guys to call that number up so you guys can empty your soul out before you feel like you want to take yourself out of the game. Try to talk to someone, talk to them, talk to family, talk to friends, talk to people, just so you can get your mind cleared up before you actually do that. And if you feel that you want to hurt other people in the process before you go out, please don't do that, because none of those people deserve that. Don't do that to them. Just take yourself out of the game if you want to do that. But before you do that, again, please talk to people before you make up that mind that will change not just your life, but the people that do care about you, their life as well. Going off away from that, Trump being arrested this past year, him actually getting a mugshot with all his other people in line, and Trump being able to sell off his mugshot onto trading cards. That's crazy to me. All the lawsuits and criminal stuff that's been happening to Trump this past year, it's crazy. And also now with Colorado and I believe Maine being two of the states that have decided to take Trump's name off of the primary ballot because of the January 6th insurrection or the rioting that happened. It's crazy. I don't think in my lifetime or even in my parents' lifetime they have seen a potential candidate's name being removed off of the ballot box because of something like this. So Trump, again, setting another precedent for something like this. You got other states that are going to try to do the exact same thing, take Trump's name off. Right now, there's a couple of states that are having that arguments amongst themselves, and we'll probably get ruling for that within the next couple weeks or even months, because 2024 is now time for people to start rolling out candidates. People start coming out. It's time for presidential election this upcoming year. So it's going to be interesting to see if Trump's name is going to be on the ballot for some of these places. And my big question with that is, if his name's not on the primary ballot, does that mean the Electoral College still can vote him in, or he's just done completely in those states with that? That's one thing I would like to know. I probably got to do more research in on that one. But again, Trump, all his big nasty stuff that happened this past year, that's still crazy how that happened. The Chinese balloon that flew over America in certain states, that had everybody like crazy asking what's going on, why is that flying over America, to it getting shot down over in the Carolinas. That was another thing that people was trying to figure out. How did that get crossing over to America with nobody noticing it until later. That's another news story that happened this past year. And again, America and China, I would like to know how that happened. I would like to know what America talked about to China about that and just try to see what they got from that. Again, these are stories that you will never ever know about, or stories that you never ever get any type of real follow up on unless you're actually in that huddle meeting between the government. You'll never know. You as the news or you as a regular civilian, you will never know what the American government talked to the Chinese government about that balloon. They only will give you a little bit here, a little bit there, but you'll never truly know the whole story. I would like to know, and I would like to know what type of information the Chinese government or whoever it was in the Chinese, not gonna say Chinese government, but Chinese department kind of got, or what they were trying to look for whenever they had that balloon flying over some American states. But nobody will ever truly know, right? Another news story that happened this past year, Maui, the wildfires that happened in Hawaii, people losing their land, people losing their homes, people having to, again, rebuild and restart again. That sucks when you think about everything that happened over there with a fire happening, with a volcano erupting. That is insane. That's nuts when you look at everything from that. And you saw how, like, in that week, the news coverage was talking about it. You saw people in the water. They talked about how the smoke was everywhere. You saw how people had to get their kids within the next week into like different schooling, and you had to see teachers talking about how they had to come together and how everybody's coming together for the people that lost their homes to the fires in Hawaii. That was depressing. That's insane to me. And just thinking about it now, we just got done with Christmas, and before that, we just got done with Thanksgiving. Those are supposed to be big family holidays, big family get together settings at a home. Imagine the people that lost their homes in Maui, what they had to do. Imagine the mindset that the parents had to go through, and also the children. I hope they didn't suffer as much. I hope that they were able to be around family, be around friends, to take them in, to embrace them on those holidays. And with it being New Year's now, I'm hoping that they were able to still be embraced by family, friends, and the big community just coming together. That's what I'm hoping for. But yeah, that's another big news story that just came and went this past year. Another one that happened this year, the Dalai Lama. Dalai Lama apologizing for sucking on a child's tongue. That was nasty. That happened earlier in the year, and that was crazy when you think about what the Dalai Lama was supposed to represent, and then you see that he sucked a little kid's tongue. Again, that's nasty. You don't know what other people do in other countries, but I'm pretty sure children should be off limits. I think in every country, children should be off limits, but again, I can't say that for other countries. They got their own rules. I know for America, and even in like Mexico, Canada, England, all these other like places, we all have at least come to grips and said, yo, children are off limits. Anything that is done to a child, you looked at as a nasty heathen, and that's the same thing that happened with the Dalai Lama. He was looked at as a nasty heathen by a lot of individuals. So again, that's another news story that came and went this past year. At the beginning of the year, the surveillance video of Tyree Nichols, his beatdown that happened this past year from the police officers, that went viral, and that was the first time I actually ever like went to a police, not gonna say database, but the police actually sent out like links for the news agency and the actual like regular people to go and watch the surveillance videos from different angles to see of a guy get his face beat up so violently and so viciously by the police. And that happened at the beginning of the year, seeing that video happen. And again, to this day, there is no excuse for that. All the officers in that situation should be fired, and they should be like be placed in jail for the rest of their lives, because all that was not necessary. Tyree Nichols still should be alive. He should be alive right now, but right now that's not the case. I'm hoping that his family is able to get the justice that is rightfully warranted for this. And this is one of the cases where I feel there should be no court date for this. There should be no jury for this. You have the evidence right in your face. You see them punching them, kicking them. all that type of stuff. At the beginning of the year, I even listed how many punches, how many kicks to the ribs, how many like kicks to the head, punches to the head, how many times he got hit with a baton. I mean, I laid it out in one of the early episodes of this year about Tyree Nichols. And again, goes into the category of when you have evidence like this, when you have video evidence, there's no need for a court case. There's no need for none of that. This should be an automatic guilty, slam dunk, put them in jail and get them out the way. So that's another one that happened this past year. Hamas in Palestine and Israel, that happened, what, I believe September, October-ish, or even like during August, one of the two. That happened this year. And again, that's still going down right now. People are having the splits between, are you pro-Palestine or are you with Israel? That's continuously happening now. People are still going about that right now. Whether side you're on, but I think we all can agree with that no children wants to be killed on either side. Innocent people want to get out of there, and there should be nobody that should be dying on either side that isn't ready to fight for their respective side. So again, that's what's going on over there. Respect to whoever side you're on. That's just the way I feel about it. A lot of people got a lot of drugs being picked up this past year. The fentanyl cases that's been going down, the opioid situations that's been going down this past year. The one in New York where they found drugs in a daycare led to a kid dying. That was crazy. That happened this year. I mentioned from time to time how the police officers would grab like cocaine out of the ocean that's worth mad millions of dollars. Drug trafficking in the Carolinas, my home state. I've said this before and I'll say it again. For the people that are smuggling drugs, do not go to the Carolinas. Do not go through the Carolinas route, because there's been multiple cases throughout the year where you have been caught and you guys have lost your product. I don't know what it is. I don't know who is like giving the Carolina police officers you guys like information, but you guys constantly keep on getting busted down there. It is insane every time I see it and I talk about it. So again, please be smart if you are smuggling drugs. I'm just going to be honest with you because that's just the truth. The earthquake that happened in Turkey earlier this year. And again, Turkey is another place that you don't hear much going down. But when the earthquake happened, you heard about the devastation that happened there. That was another news story that came and went. Another story, Kevin McCarthy. He was kicked out as the head of the House. That happened later in the year. That's another one. And that was one that caught a lot of people by surprise. Like, how can you kick someone out of their position? George Santos, he got kicked out of his position. And again, politics be politicking. People just doing whatever they want up there. And those are two people in politics that got their jobs basically revoked away from them. Tucker Carlson, he got fired from Fox News earlier this year. And Tucker Carlson, he's been recovering. He's been bouncing back. He's been doing his own thing on social media. So there you have that there. Dude, there's been so many news stories. Oh yes, how can I forget Jonathan Majors situation that just wrapped up 2 weeks ago. And that happened, dude. I don't know I'm not gonna say a bigger fall from grace, but one of the biggest rises and stumbles in a year than Jonathan Majors. That is literally still insane to me. Beginning of the year, he had his whole career mapped out for him, the blueprint literally set. And then by the end of the year, all wiped away. Movies on shelves that he's already done. Movies taken away from him. I mean, damn, that is insane. But again, as I said before on, I believe 2 weeks ago, about midweek episode, I said Jonathan Majors, his career isn't done. He just got to sit down a little bit in like a timeout and he will be back. His career isn't over because there's been so many other movie stars that's had real despicable things, way more worse than him, that their career is still going and thriving. So Jonathan Majors, being an incredible actor, being the guy that was on the cusp of literally being the sun in Hollywood, he's going to bounce back from this, and I think he's going to bounce back great. I don't think he's going to ever hit the same point as the Sun. Maybe he will, but I still think he's going to have a great career in Hollywood, and I just can't wait to see what they're going to try to hit him with. Again, I think they're going to give him like some community service, maybe, probably they'll try to give him some couple days in jail, which I don't think that's right at all because he was running away from his girlfriend, well, ex at the time. But again, we'll wait and see what happens with the Jonathan Majors sentencing, that business, all the sexual assault allegations that literally came out towards the end of the year. I mean, there was a litany of them. The Jamie Foxx, the Puff, the Jamie Iovine, the Steven Tyler, the Vin Diesel. How many more? There's so many more of them, and there's probably going to be more coming into 2024 of people coming out and saying that they've been sexually assaulted. Oh yes, Lizzo and her background, former dancers talking about they got harassed and they went through some trauma and all that stuff from Lizzo and Lizzo's dance choreographer and all that stuff. That stuff still hasn't been settled, and if it has, it hasn't been talked about a lot of it being settled. That's still a situation. There's a lot of stuff that came out about Hollywood this year that it's normal, but the sexual assault stuff, that was abnormal. Like, you usually get a couple of them in a year, but there was like a slew of them they just dumped out towards like the third quarter and like the fourth quarter of the year. I mean, it was insane how many sexual assault allegations, how many sexual harassment allegations that came out towards the end of the year, and now coming into 2024, I want to see how many is going to be popping in, how many of them is going to be happening, how many of them is going to be resolved. I mean, dude, that was a lot. I'm probably missing some more news stories, but dude, those were a lot of stories that happened this past year that just came and went and fly by. And dude, there's just so much news stories that, dude, I don't think I can like properly list all of them. But those were like the big ones to me, and those were some of the news stories that just happened this past year in 2023. And I think that needs to be remembered once again. There's more news stories that's going to be coming out. I probably will remember some, and I probably might talk about them some in 2024 on my midweek episode. But yeah, man, just a lot of things that happened this past year, and I just want people to take it easy. Go into 2024 remembering to take a deep breath, breathe in, breathe out, and just try to be a better person than you were in 2023. Because now, guess what? You have no excuse. You're starting a new year. That whole new year, new me crap is going to be applied every time. People are going to try to work out a list and say, this is what I want to change about me, yada, yada, yada. Here's one thing I would like for people to do. Try to be more nicer. I want people to try to be more nicer to one another. We see people every day talking about how they deal with depression or deal with anxiety or deal with some type of medical situation that is dealing on the inside, not an outside physical thing, but it's more of a mental state. If people are more nicer towards one another, I guarantee you we won't see as much people going through depression. We won't see as much people going through a lot of things. So I like for people to at least try to be more nicer to one another. And this is coming from a guy that is a nice person, but he's not overly nice. Like, know when you draw back on the nice. Know when to give out your niceness to people, and know when you just don't have to be nice to some people. I'm not saying be fake with your niceness. I'm saying just know when. Always give someone your nice at first, but if someone doesn't reciprocate that, you can say, well, at least you tried, and then you can start behaving the way that you want to behave. Because you being nice first, but then they didn't want to reciprocate, so now guess what? You do what you want. That doesn't mean to attack them physically. That does not mean that. that means that, guess what? You don't have to talk to them no more, or just give them back the same energy that they gave to you. But just know that you always extended out the olive branch first. Um, People, as I said before on my midweek episode this past week, people are already starting this whole uh, weight loss, dietary type thing. I'll regurgitate what I said on midweek here. If you are doing this whole deal, first and foremost, change up your diet. Change it up. Start gradually. Don't go heavy base. Add a salad into your program. Lay back on some of the sugary materials that you're intaking in your body. That's the first thing. Second thing, when you want to do exercising, I would say start off slowly. Walk around at your local parks, walk around on the beach. That's one of the beautiful things that I love to do whenever I do get the time. Walk around on the beach because you just see the water, you walking on sand, and you're walking just around. You see people just chilling, whatever. That's beautiful. That's the easier ways to like step into the health fitness type deal before you start going into the gym, because you will start automatically comparing yourself to people in the gym. I've done it before. I still do it now. I know it's not healthy for you to do so, but hey, we're all humans. We have eyes. We will always be competing with each other internally, but that's not something that you want to do when you're starting your fitness goal or trying to revamp yourself because it's the new year and all that type of stuff. So when you do it, don't start off going to the gym first. Try to walk around first and then go into the gym after you're already getting to the mindset of, okay, I've done the walking around, I got some cardio in me, okay, now it's time for me to go into the gym and to lift. And always lift light first. Don't start off heavy, because when you start off heavy, you're tightening up yourself and you're just going to put a lot of strain on your body, especially if you're not used to lifting. So please start off light before you go off into the heavy stuff. Again, and also I do just want to mention, I am not a fitness guy like that. I'm not a fitness guru. I'm not one of these type of guys. I'm just a normal guy that pops into the gym, work out for an hour, dip out. That's just my deal. So again, take my advice for what it is on surface level. Do some research for yourself, and yeah, just do what you want with that. But I would suggest to start off lightly. Anything else I want to say before I get out of here? Because I don't want to make this a long episode. This is New Year's Eve. People going out to get themselves together before they start really partying and hanging out with their friends like that. Anything else? Oh, yes. Here's a couple things to leave behind in 2023. People on social media, please stop with the whole guys versus girls situation. I want that kind of die in 2023. I want 2024 to be a different situation. We'd always have to go with the broke boys going against the broke girls, or this whole men versus women thing. What men can do that women can't, that women can do that men can't. I've seen a lot of that on social media. For the love of God, let it die. Let that just die in 2023. Let 2024 just be a new thing and allow us to think more cerebral about things than just surface level. Let us get to deeper meanings of certain things than just always being, well, a man can't take a woman out at freaking Cheesecake Factory, or a man can't be manicured, a man can't look too pampered because he'll look gay or something like that. Yo, I've seen enough of that. Yo, quit it. Stop it. It's stupid. A man's gonna be what a man is going to do. That's what I mean by that. A man's going to do what a man's going to do. If he's going to clean himself up, he's going to take you out on a date, do all that type of stuff. Just, that's what's going to happen. And also, men, if a woman is not your bag, please do not try to go after her like that, because you're just going to cause yourself a lot of stress. And the only thing you're going to go about that is saying, well, she's only after money. Duh. If she's after money and you know you don't got it like that, do not try to pursue her like that. Just let it be. That's all I gotta say for that. Do not try to pursue someone that you know what they're after like that, because you're just going to try to smut their name out, and that's not cool neither. So again, there's a lot of things that need to be left in 2023, but that's at the top of the list for me. Let people do what people do, but do not try to criticize them like that. Anything else before I get out of here? I don't think nothing else. So, yeah, it's time for me to get you guys out of here. I want to thank all the podcast sites. I want to thank all the podcast websites, all the podcast hubs that allow me to still be on here, because without them, I won't be able to get these podcast episodes out to you guys, the listeners. So I want to thank them, but also I want to thank you guys, the downloaders, the listeners, because without you guys, I'll just be one guy talking into a mic, into a void, and you guys have no idea how much it means to me to see the downloads every single week, because, dude, it's crazy. Again, I gotta constantly say this. I'm just one guy with not a lot of social media presence, but I see the podcast is literally traveling from America to Russia to Australia to Italy to all these other different avenue of places, and just to know that other people from other places are listening to me, that's crazy. So I want to thank you guys, the downloaders, for doing that every single week. Always remember,
I love you, I love you, I love you. I love you, I love you, I love you.
I do love you guys. This isn't a host, this isn't a gimmick, this is me being authentic. I truly do mean that. I appreciate everybody that downloads the episode every single week, whether you're downloading the wrestling highlights of the week that happens on the Saturday, the Sunday episodes, or the Wednesday midweek episodes. I appreciate every single one of you. I want you guys to have a great New Year's Eve and a great New Year's day. You guys will hear from me again on Wednesday's midweek episode. If you don't hear from me then, you'll hear from me on Saturday. If you listen and watch professional wrestling, I'll be talking about professional wrestling on Saturday. And if not then, you'll hear from me again next Sunday. We're going to talk about any and everything. And since we're going to be going into the new year, I'm pretty sure there's going to be some big news topics that's going to be dropping this upcoming week. Also, before I forget, AEW, they had their last pay-per-view of the year. World's End happened last night. That episode should be out, if not right now, within another couple of minutes. So expect to be on the lookout for that if you do watch professional wrestling. And if you didn't see the pay-per-view last night, I got you covered for a review for that. So I believe that's it. So with that being said, this has been My 2 Cents Podcast presented by G2. He is I and I am him. I love you all. Please be safe. This isn't goodbye. This is until you hear from the sweet sounding voice again. And with that being said, Kanye, could you please take these people home?
I'm tired, you tired, Jesus wept.